To agree or disagree is when now we shall have mechanisms to progress this further. And then we can now decide whether it is a popular initiative, whether some of them require a popular initiative. Having carefully looked at them, I'm persuaded that most of the matters that have been proposed by the President can be canvassed through a parliamentary initiative. Madam Speaker, I therefore urge this House, as we debate, to look at the reality of our country, to look at national interest, to look at legislating just the leadership of the opposition, and this is where we lose it when we say we are creating a position for an individual. We are creating a position for the millions of Kenyans who voted for the opposition to exercise their sovereign right of being in the opposition to canvass their issues. Madam Speaker, I beg to support and I beg to urge members of this House to find it necessary not to imprison themselves in technicalities, but to craft a constitution based on the realities that affect our country.
That in the last parliament, of women in this House, it is also the same thing today, and it's an issue that we need to address. We have seen by the formation of the affirmative action seat, we have seen the voice of women rising tremendously in Parliament. We've also seen the women issues being addressed effectively. Is also coming to a sunset close. But before we get there, we can continue having this seat as it has encouraged so many women to transit to single-member constituencies. This seat has also seen women placed in Parliament, and they were given an affirmative action seat, which has actually encouraged them and made them be more comfortable in vying for these positions that were occupied by men for a very long time. Madam Speaker, we have seen women doing tremendously well through this position, and so also position of the women representative of the affirmative seat can also continue as we continue to get more women in Parliament. Madam Speaker, leadership, they have taken their space in education, and so as we continue also to seek for interventions to increase the number of women in this House, we can continue with the affirmative action positions that we currently have, because these are the positions that are encouraging women. And with time, when we achieve the numbers that we need in Parliament, these positions can always be scrapped, and we can continue now fighting for the same positions as men, as I know we will get there with time. I know that Rome was not built in a day, and so I know we are not yet there, but we will get there. I know it was in the recent past, very few women could even stand in Parliament and speak, but you see the numbers are increasing by the day. We are getting there slowly, and I know that with the help of this seat that we currently have, the numbers will increase. Madam Speaker, when I look at the second one, on the constituency development, Senate oversight and national government affirmative action funds, we know what happened recently, and I don't think the members of Parliament will want to go through that again, or even the members that will come after us will want to go through that. I think we are all in agreement that these funds should be anchored in the Constitution, so that it's a constitutional obligation, as opposed to us wasting a lot of time every time having to lobby for the funds, having to waste time like how we wasted the last time. We know what the country is going through, that we have a drought in all the parts of the country, and bursaries were a dire need for the people, but we saw how long they took before us addressing that issue to our constituents, because the funds are not anchored in the Constitution. I think we are all in agreement that it's about time that we seek those funds to be anchored in the Constitution, so every other Parliament that will come into place that we can also work on. We have seen in the previous governments that we have the leader of the opposition leader having handshakes, and so bringing a whole lot of confusion in the running of Parliament. I think it's good that once and for all, they're saying this knowing that any person can be an opposition leader at any given time. And so it's good that with power, so that we don't see any more handshakes, because you can see how handshakes can bring a lot of confusion to an extent that people don't even know which side they belong. They don't know whether they're in Parliament or in opposition, and it becomes hard to oversight Parliament, not knowing which side you stand in.